Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Dorio.
on your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And, of course, speaking of quality of life, the one and only Dr. Thomas Palacki, a local chiropractor. Welcome, sir.
It's good to be back.
In
Thank
all
you.
this heat.
Yeah, it's hot out there. I'll tell you something. For years, I felt a little uncomfortable about coming in and hearing that introduction for and by seniors. Mm-hmm. I got my AARP card in the mail. I'm like, no, it's real. It's really happening.
They're very subtle, aren't they? Just put it in the mail. Check your mailbox.
Are you getting
Boom.
older? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Join the club.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an absolutely fantastic club.
It is.
Yes,
It is.
yes. And let's all keep growing older together.
That's the plan.
Yes.
That's the plan. I
Absolutely.
don't like the older part. I said we're all here together for the long run. I like that better.
Right. As opposed, the worst one is elder, I think. I hate that word.
Yeah.
I use it, but, it just doesn't
I don't
feel
like
like it
labels.
applies.
I
It
don't
doesn't
like
apply.
any labels, to be honest. I just, we're all
But
in
government
this
gives
together.
us statistics and things like that, and so they put us into a category. So we kind of abide by it, but elder, older,
Yeah,
pretty
and
difficult.
Older, I don't mind so much. It is elder because elder
Elder
does
connotes.
designate.
right.
Older doesn't.
All right, so
because you could
here's the
be
thing. Here's the
16
thing. In
and getting
certain
older.
churches, the
Yeah.
officiants are called elders.
Elders.
And I see elders that aren't even shaving yet. I'm like, wait a second. How did that happen? What's that all about?
That's very true. Very true.
Right.
Yes.
So anyway, I think it's mandatory that we talk about the heat. I'm sure everybody's heard it's hot out there. Mm-hmm. And, of course, hydration is key. A lot of people our age, let's say that, tend to
avoiding the issue.
tend to stay away from water because they don't like the frequent trips to the bathroom, whatever, and that can cause some major issues.
But
Yeah.
your body absorbs the water.
Right. But it might.
No, when I drink a lot of water, my body absorbs it, especially if it's hot like this. And I don't find myself running to the restroom every 5 minutes.
Okay.
Right, and that is the fear that you're going to drink fluids and have to run to the bathroom. And at certain times of the year, that's going to be true. But because we perspire, and what is the largest organ in the body? It's the skin, and it's by surface area. So we have a lot of surface area that evaporates fluid, and we can get dehydrated from that.
Yeah, very
So one of the keys is I see you're drinking smart water over there, and what that means is they take tap water and they put some electrolytes in it. They put some, usually baking soda is the big one.
No, this is my water from my
Oh,
tap.
okay,
I
okay.
have one of those dispensers.
Right, okay, great.
I just like this bottle because it's got a flip top.
Yeah, so
Because
typically
I broke
these...
my glass one,
these
and you couldn't get me
fancy-
another one.
No, these fancy waters that you buy in the store are mostly just tap water with some baking soda thrown in to make it taste better. But electrolytes are critically important. So what I like to do is I have a very high quality sea salt in our office, and not all sea salt is the same. Most gourmet sea salts that you'll pay $10, $15, $20 for a little shaker of in the spice aisle of your supermarket. This is going to sound disgusting, but they are literally scraped off the road in Mexico. And that is technically sea salt, and they can sell it as gourmet sea salt.
Imported.
Yeah, imported gourmet sea salt. So, there's all this stuff. And then there's the stuff that they scrape off the mountainside in the Himalayas, and they call it this pink magical mystery tour salt, which is mildly radioactive. So don't buy into that either.
I buy mine at the health food store.
Well, you're paying too much for it.
Well,
Yeah. So
I don't mind.
Okay. You can get like a pound of this sea salt that I use in my office for under $20, and that pound will last you for years. I use it as a seasoning. I put a little pinch in every cup of water that I drink because, believe it or not, tap water will dehydrate you.
Interesting.
And it's a thing in chemistry, if you can remember back in grade school, something called osmosis. So concentrations always go downhill. If there's a higher concentration, it's going to go to a lower concentration. So these minerals, these salts, these electrolytes, whatever that means, these things that help your body run properly are inside the cells. And when you run water through that system, when you're drinking a lot of tap water that doesn't have a higher concentration of salts, electrolytes, minerals than what's inside your cells, those solids are pulled out of your cells and the water along with it. So it sounds crazy, but regular water, the higher the quality of the water, the more filtered, the more distilled it is, the purer the water source, the more dehydrating it is in your body.
Interesting.
So there are going to be some listeners right now that are looking at their containers and they're going to see sea salt, but on it says not iodized.
That's okay.
Right. But for years and years and years, we've been getting salt that has a little girl with an umbrella on it.
Right.
That it says iodized on it.
Right.
And,
table salt is not the same thing as sea salt. There's a huge difference in what that actually is.
Right. But then still the question arises, should any salt that we get, that we will be using, be iodized or not? And in the past, we fluorinated our water.
Yeah,
we have iodized our salts.
Yeah.
And, we've justified it because of medical reasons for iodine, of course. Most people from the 50s and 60s talk about goiters and, thyroid problems and things like that. So, yeah, the question has to be I know my seniors who are very literate here in Santa Clarita, they're looking at their salt and because I've been asked the question, they'll grab their salt and say, hey, it's not iodized. What do I do? How do I handle it? And now we're talking about a little bit of it today. They're going to be asking that question.
Okay, great point. So, sea vegetables are the best source of iodine by far. That's a great source. So if you really feel it's important that you supplement your diet with some iodine, the best way to do that is with some, again, in the seasoning aisle, just get some sea vegetable. It's usually something like kelp or dulse or wakame. How do you say it, Gene? You know this. Wakame? Wakame?
Wakame, I don't know.
Wakame. It's
not wasabi.
No. Okay, so it's a sea vegetable, very prominent in Asian cooking. So they have this stuff, and that is by far the best way to get your iodine.
Yeah, I've never seen kelp with a goiter.
Right. So that being said, as far as the chemical composition of salt that you're going to be using, table salt is almost crystalline sodium chloride. And that's why they had to add iodine to it in the past, because it is straight up two different atoms, sodium and chlorine, that come together to make sodium chloride. It's not the same type of salt that is in your cells. The type of salt that is in your cells yes, there's sodium, there's chloride, but there are hundreds of other atoms, minerals in it that is very similar to seawater. That's where it comes from. And surprisingly similar to the same chemical composition of the minerals that are inside your cells. It's almost identical. It's what we would call in the industry bioidentical. It means something in nature looks exactly the same as it does inside your body. So when you get a real true sea salt, which is just the opposite process of distilled water, like when they distill water out of sea water, the stuff that's left over is sea salt. It's the concentration of the solids that were in that water. That is a bioidentical, point by point remineralization of what's inside your cells. So it's ideal for hydration purposes.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not telling people to go out and drink seawater.
No,
because
it's a little too salty. Yeah,
it is too salty, and just the opposite happens with the cells.
Exactly.
You know, that diffusion
Too
or
much.
osmosis
Too much
can
salt
actually
does the same
kill
thing.
you.
Dehydrate.
Well,
Too much, too little has the same
Over the
effect.
weekend, it was pretty hot, but I still went out and I ran. And my problems with the hydrating sports drinks is, for me, I already know that I don't get enough salt in that either. And I have to, they made Gatorade, made a Gatorade in the past. I write them all the time and tell them the problems they're having with the coloration and things in their drinks. Sometimes they listen, and because other people are writing the same things, and so they made a Gatorade that had more salt in it for those who were losing too much salt, like myself, and it ended up where people just didn't buy it,
Right.
and so I got stuck again, running races and just running on my own, having to supplement, because I can feel the difference.
Sure.
And I do. It sounds terrible, Barb, but when I run, I get back and I start to get hydrated, but I take iodized salt, with the girl with the umbrella, and I get a handful of it, not a big handful, a few shakes of it, and, I'll just throw it in my mouth and just swallow it with the rest of my Gatorade.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds awful, but, I do feel better because of it, and I know that the sports drinks for me, just because I perspire so much and lose a lot of salt that way on my skin, from my skin even, I, feel better and adding the supplementation. So everybody's different. Everybody's physiology is different and how they handle it.
Right.
But still, the bottom line today, with our temperature being 107 or 108, our seniors have to be aware they're going to be losing water. And if you're just not feeling well, and some of the symptoms could be weakness, tiredness, dizziness, lightheadedness, you start thinking about the possibility that you're dehydrated and you need to, take more fluid. And, some people will say, my doctor said this, or I'm on a diuretic that, and, we're not going to give you medical advice because your problems are individual. So you have to, for yourself, make your decisions, but be aware that at this time of year and this day, because it's going to be so dry, that you're going to lose water, so you have to be careful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. So, all right, have we covered the water and the heat?
Yeah, I think
good with that?
I think our seniors are good with iodized and goiters and things like that.
Okay, so for the rest of the show, I'd like to talk about something. Barbara, you have a little experience of this. The different type of, completely different type of chiropractic that we're doing in the office. No twisting, no cracking. And within the past year or so, for you, I've introduced a new device that is actually not a chiropractic tool at all. It comes to us, the technique is a massage technique that was studied in Japan with PET scans to actually change brain function, to change the emergency response in the brain that is predominantly driven by the pituitary to produce this is a Scrabble word, catecholamines, for this audience, just stress chemicals, and shift that into the healing response, which takes place in the cortex. And they measured this with a special kind of x-ray that sees where metabolism is going. So you can see, is that person in stress or is that person in healing mode? And this special kind of, very specific kind of massage called tapotement, where you're just tapping on tender spots, and you have some experience with that. Oh,
my goodness. Yes.
Is very effective at shifting that brain activity from stress into healing.
Exactly. And in fact, I took Russ in yesterday because he's been going, because of sitting in his chair so long,
Mm-hmm.
his back has begun to hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him this morning, I said, well, how's your neck and your back? He said, fine. I said, so going to the chiropractor and being treated has helped. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, I hate to admit that, but it has.
Nice.
So let's continue this conversation when we come back. We have to take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is your official Santa Clarita Dodger station. You can catch all evening games right here on your hometown station. For all the latest news and updates on your Los Angeles Dodgers, KHTS has you covered. Go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM-1220.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Holy cow, it's fair time. Incredible food, crazy carnival rides, cool concerts presented by Fondale Auto Mall, including country, rock and roll, and the sounds of the 80s. Rally Kia Arena events include Demo Derby, Monster Truck, and Figure 8 Racing. New this year, The Backyard. Enjoy craft beer, bocce ball, cornhole, and more. Get your tickets early. Pre-sale admission is just $7. Pre-sale season tickets are $15. And unlimited carnival ride wristbands are just $25. Details and ticket information at avfair.com.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM-1220. Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And we're speaking with Dr. Thomas Pilecki, and we have started talking about tapotement.
Yeah, nice.
What a nice word. I didn't know what the name of it was.
Right? It took me a while. I've been familiar with the research for several years now because it's not something new. Tapotement has been around certainly for centuries. It's tapping on tender points. And every culture has their own version of it. You have these sticks that you hit yourself with, and I mean, it's been around for quite some time before there was any technology. So we know about this. We just haven't really known how it works. We didn't until we saw the results on a PET scan. And again, it's a type of X-ray that you ingest some fluid that has a radioactive marker in it. Whatever you want to think about that. However, you can watch where this glucose, this radioactive glucose, goes. And if you know that when brain activity is headed in one direction and that stimulates stress in your body, the alarm response, and you know that if brain activity in a different area of the brain is more of a problem-solving healing response, then you can start tracking, well, what can you do about it? And these researchers tried everything from medication to meditation, and they tracked what had a big influence on it. And someone somewhere thought, well, let's try this, and they just started tapping. And they tried first the acupuncture points that, some people are familiar with if they've gone there. And they got a little result in it. And then they went to the joints of the spine, and not just any joint. It's not like you can just randomly hit stuff and it's going to produce the result. They have to be tender and tight. They have to be restricted joints that have some tenderness in them, because that shows that that joint is no longer moving freely. It's stuck.
That's right, and that's what happened to me yesterday when I went to see you. I told you that my lower back was bothering me. Well, when you felt down there, you felt where I was talking about, and used that Tapotement tool.
Yeah, we're calling it an impulse. There's several names for it, but we're calling it the impulse.
It was amazing to me, as I said to you, wow, that doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, instant, right?
Yes, absolutely
Spasm
instant.
gone, pain
I couldn't
gone,
believe
instantaneously. Yeah,
I
it
couldn't
works faster
believe
than
it.
drugs.
Wow, it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
But is it like deferred pain, though? Because when I played baseball, one of the things is when you got hit by a pitch, you weren't supposed to rub it.
Right.
And I thought that was ridiculous, because my first instinct was I was going to rub it.
Yeah.
But instead, because, peer pressure, don't rub it, and everybody said, don't rub it, right away from the dugout, don't rub it. I start pinching my fingers to make my fingers hurt so that I wouldn't think about where the ball hit me.
Right.
So
this is not.
So that was like deferred a little bit.
Not really the same thing.
Okay.
We are, and the reason I say that is I understand what you're saying, and it can be confusing, but the only reason that I can say that with absolute certainty is we have the research. We've seen what this does in that alarm healing switch, the thalamus in the brain. We can change the pattern from the alarm response, where you're spewing out all these stress hormones, actually stimulating pain and spasm and differences in blood flow, and blood pressure is another thing. We've been able to keep your blood pressure nearly 40 points down from where you came in. And that's simply by doing this technique of switching from the stress response to the healing response, and using these tender, tight joints to access that. And it has to be a tender and tight joint. You have to get those sensors in that joint working properly, because we're designed pretty smart. This is internal medicine for us. When the joints of the spine are working normally, which is most of the time, most of the time are working normally, that gate stays in the functional healing position. It's only when they get jammed, when they get stuck, when they get tight and tender, that you start shifting into that stress response, having that stimulus go into the pituitary and start spewing out all these stress chemicals that in the short period of time can supercharge your body. It's adrenaline. right? So you feel invincible. It's all the cortisone and all that stuff that makes you feel good temporarily, but long term, when the gate is stuck in the alarm position, it prematurely ages every system that it comes in contact with, all the way down to the DNA. So it's not just about some temporary relief of a back pain. It's not like getting hit with a ball and rubbing it. And by the way, you should have rubbed it. They were wrong back then. If you get hit, you should rub it.
That was a man thing.
Yeah. So, so that's one thing, and that is what's called a segmental response. If you rub free nerve endings, where it hurts is going to stop temporarily, but that doesn't get to the cortical activity so much. That doesn't shift that pain response, that emergency response into the healing response. It just right at the spot, and it just gets to the spinal cord and then back to it. It doesn't go up into the brain. So that will actually slow down pain in your perception of pain. It doesn't change the healing response, but it will give you some relief. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. Well, I just know I watch the Dodgers, and when they get hit by a pitch, they don't rub it. They still don't. So it's a man thing still, and they need to know to Pullman.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Everybody does.
If they start tapping it, then I'll go, hey, they're learning.
There you go.
The machoism is gone.
So we're here's some of our shared pet peeves. The healthcare system in this country has become ridiculously top-heavy. Yes, we have the best trained doctors. Yes, we have the most technologically advanced facilities on the planet. And yes, people do come from all around the world to receive treatment here. That being said, most Americans can't afford that care. The overwhelming majority of people will never have access to that form of care. So what good does having the best when 90% of the people have no access to it whatsoever? So this might be the first step towards the answer. I don't expect everybody to make a radical shift and start making their health their priority. That's asking way too much. However, changing the way that we work with people who the most common reason to go to a doctor is the cold. Number 2 is back pain. So the second most common doctor's visit is regarding back pain. And if we have something available that they don't have to deal with the insurance companies, they don't have to deal with the referrals to the specialist, wait on a list for a month to get some tests that don't show anything, and they have to pay, and then once all that's done, they wind up on some form of pain management that can cause its own problems, and then in a year later, they still have the same problem. Instead, they go to a certified practitioner who doesn't have to go to 8 years of school and get $250,000 of debt before they see their first patient, and then do whatever the insurance company tells them to do just so that they can make a living. They can go to a certified practitioner who knows how to do this, who knows how to find those tight and tender spots, who knows how to use the technology, and knows how to give people instant relief. And it's lasting, too. It's not just some thing that lasts for a few minutes and then you walk out the door and you still have the problem.
Well, now, you haven't used this very long, have you?
I have been using it, and I haven't been using it on everybody. I was exposed to this when I was being trained to be a chiropractor 30 years ago. So I have used this. I have studied it. I just liked what I was doing better. Here's my concern. The reason that I'm using it more and more on more and more people is because I want to start training the average person on how to do this, whether it's for their own personal use or whether they want to step up and start helping people on a level that is outside of the current medical system. Because it's huge. It's a huge problem. And if they can learn how to do it for, less than a used car payment, and they can practice it, and they can build it, and they can actually make a living out of doing it. A living is comfortable. The average chiropractor, as I said, spends 8 years in school, gets out with nearly $250,000 of debt, and then they have to try to make that work at $65,000 a year. The average chiropractor makes $65,000 a year in this country. That is minimum wage, essentially.
Barely a living wage.
So instead of that, for less than $10,000, a person is helping people. They can get insured by massage insurance. This is a form of insurance. They don't have any government bureaucracy. They don't have any of the drama with having to wait until people are in an emergency, because people can afford it. We're setting this at what most people pay for a copay. A treatment is $29. So the average person, if they're in pain, can figure out how to come up with $29. And most people can do that. Most people, I'm not saying everybody, but most people, if they absolutely needed to, they could get treated once a week. They probably don't. Most people probably aren't going to need to be treated once a week. In fact, most of my patients, once they're over their initial crisis, if they choose to maintain and stay as healthy as possible, they come in twice a month. Do the math. Most people can afford $60 a month. Most people. That's why we're doing this. We don't want to be the most expensive chiropractor in town that has, a 2-month waiting list, and maybe I'll take you or maybe I don't. I could be, because I have the credentials. That's not the approach that I'm taking on this. I want to teach. I want one of these practitioners in every zip code. I want accessibility to this technology readily available to anybody that chooses this. That's my goal. And I think we can see a lot of change in the way things are done.
Absolutely. What our patients do not understand, they've been paralyzed by the thought that they can treat, that they're going to be treated by a so-called professional in a lot of different fields, but they're going to be using drugs. They're going to be having all this testing. They could end up becoming addicted. They're not going to be educated.
Right.
And with all these things that are background for what one has as a problem, and as you said, this whole system is top-heavy.
Yep.
It's surviving by taking advantage, I believe, of patients, where the subtle things that we could do, taking advantage of chiropractic care, that to me is seemingly much more helpful and looks at the past use of different modalities to get people better, as opposed to trying to create scientific and so-called technologic ways of treating individuals, and end up creating problems for those individuals, especially, once again, our seniors today. As we started out on a very hot day, simple dehydration, as we talked about, is simple rehydration. I mean, these are easy things to do for our patients, but it's laid out there as being way too complicated for them to understand, so you better get in so we can do all this testing and cost you a lot of money instead.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole system is designed to confuse and intimidate. There's no reason that you should pay or have your carrier pay someone to have you tell them what's wrong. They put a Latin twist on it. They just say the same thing back to you in a foreign language, and then they can bill the insurance company whatever the going rate is. That's insane. That's got nothing to do with anybody getting better whatsoever. And then the whole trauma drama, pill for every ill, constant bad science, BS for short, overwhelming marketing on, well, you just need the right drug for your life to be perfect is absolutely insane. It is a uniquely American phenomena.
Absolutely.
It's not that I am a fan of socialized medicine. It's not that I think, well, we just need the government to pay for everything and that would solve all our problems. No, that would even make it even so much more corrupt. The answer is we have to start really looking at what health is and what is the best approach towards it. Mm-hmm. And medication, while in emergency situations may save your life, there is no justification for womb to tomb 5 pills a day. And that's kind of where the top-heavy system wants everybody to be.
Mm-hmm. There's a pill for every problem that you might have. And as clinicians, we know with every pill there's a side effect.
Sure.
There's every pill there's a cost. For every pill there's an addiction. For this country to have adopted these ideals and been inculcated by the propaganda from hospitals, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, is astounding. We have gone in this direction, but it's all predicated on profit, and that's what they've done to us now. So, I do think it's going to continue to go in that direction until somebody says we need to stop this and change the mindset of what can be done. And not that this show is going to do that.
No, we don't have to. Here's the beautiful thing about this. At the end of the last World War, everything had to shift. People had to figure out what they were going to do with the rest of their lives, and most of the countries had to figure out how to keep their population healthy because they couldn't afford to have a sick population. America came out on top of that whole situation, but they took the exact opposite approach. They turned health into a business. Mm-hmm. And that is the difference between the nearly 50 countries that have better healthcare statistics than we do and us right now. It's that health in this country is a business. Every piece of information that you get out there right now is designed to make money off you and not get you healthy.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's amazing. But let's take a break, okay? We'll be back in a few minutes. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Life's not meant to feel complacent. It's meant to make you feel alive. The youth ministry at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita believes that students can belong to the group where we will help them believe they have a purpose in Christ and become all that He has created them to be. We want to see God's power come alive in our generation. We love meeting new people, so come hang out with us. Doors open at 6 p.m. and service starts at 7 every Wednesday night. For more information about the Church on the Way Santa Clarita, including service times and what's happening through the end of the year, visit tcotwsc.org.
Olive Terrace Bar and Grill is the hottest new Mediterranean fusion restaurant in Santa Clarita with unique delicacies like seafood right off the boat, mouth-watering prime steaks, artesian sandwiches, delicious pastas, and tasty kebabs. Unwind on their cozy outdoor patio at their weekend champagne brunch, full menu, and weekly specials at oliveterracebarandgrill.com. Check out their full bar and happy hour daily specials in Valencia on Copper Hill and Newhall Ranch Road by LA Fitness. Olive Terrace Bar and Grill, delicious food seasoned with love.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM-1220, your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Well, Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And we're wrapping up our hour, having spoken with Dr. Thomas Pilecki on some very, very interesting treatment modality.
Yeah.
To potent.
Simple,
and
easy, with
no side effects,
natural, effective,
and it works.
No addiction.
No addiction. So here, just to finish my thought before the break, in case people are just tuning in, America absolutely has the best trained doctors, the best technology, the best facilities. However, it's not that care is not accessible to the overwhelming majority of people.
And I should mention the best marketing.
Yeah. Our system has become top heavy. So I'm doing what I can to change that. And with this technology, I believe it is possible to give people an option for the second most common reason they would go to a doctor, a truly affordable, natural approach that is highly effective, much more effective than medication, even more effective than surgery. And for $29, people can find out. So you don't have to worry about, oh, well, are you in my network, or is this going to be covered? Or most people can figure out a way to come up with $29 if they've got an issue. And then if they want to, most people will go to a massage for a lot more than that on a regular basis. This is a very advanced form of massage. And this is one of the things, right before the break, Dr. Dorio, you mentioned that we're not going to change the system anytime soon. We don't have to. I said that for the past 60 years, 50 countries have been beating our healthcare statistics. And the only reason is because they couldn't afford to let their population get sick in the first place. And that has been their emphasis from day one. So here's the thing. We don't have to change this. Healthcare is becoming inaffordable, inaccessible for the overwhelming majority of the American population. And when we hit that tipping point where nobody can afford to get sick anymore, we'll see the change here. It's not going to come from the drug manufacturers, from the insurance companies, or from the politicians. It's going to come from the population making health their priority. And this is the easiest approach. I'm not about to get everybody to change their mind about how they do everything. However, I am going to give them an affordable option to deal with the second most common health condition in the country.
And it works. Take it from me, it works.
And by the way, because I still am a licensed chiropractor in the state of California, and Medicare recognizes that if you have government issue Medicare, this treatment is covered by it. However, more and more people are surrendering their government issue Medicare to managed care, and those benefits no longer apply. So even if you have HMO attached to your Medicare, it's $29 a visit, and most people could at least come one time, if not more.
Absolutely.
So if people want to get a hold of you, Dr. Thomas Pilecki, how do they go about doing that?
661-753-9340.
661 753-9340. Well, it's, I think the three of us here, look at the healthcare system from the viewpoint of looking at our seniors. And, for years we have talked about here on this show about the difficulties our seniors have faced in terms of attaining and maintaining Medicare coverage. And, each day and each week we come on, something new has been stirred into the pot to negatively affect our seniors. And I believe this is going to continue, and it's how we, if we have to go to the brink and to the end of where the frustration will be so great that things will have to change, then the question exists, then will our country still exist? Will we be relegated to a third world nation? And, this is the way we should have looked at it and said we better make some changes now. So my thought is, there are things that have occurred that, the Congress people, the people who make the laws, they don't live under the same laws, and when they don't, and failure starts to happen, they'll still be living under their own laws, and we will fail. We can't then compete in the world marketplace like other countries will be able to do because their citizens have health care. This cannot continue. And how we're going to handle this is beyond me right now, but all of us have an opinion, and, you should start looking and forming your own opinions, all you seniors who are listening, to make sure that your health care rights are not removed.
I agree with you completely. Absolutely.
So this is a situation that is, I think we're in dire straits. And, we have to start looking at better ways of doing things. And, with us not doing that right now, I say as we continue, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So people, you mentioned you socialize medicine and, everything gets a label, but, I don't look at it that way. I look at medicine for the people, assuring that our kids and our adults and our seniors get good care and can have quality of life at the same time. But when that's not existent or the opportunities aren't there and access is not available, we're certainly going to be in a lot of trouble. So how we handle it, Dr. Palaki, we heard today the simple things that can be done, but, will that change for us? And I just don't know if it will. But we appreciate your being on the show today and your opinions on the whole matter and how you are attempting to once again, get help our seniors in the process. Once again, your phone number is 753-9340. That's 753-9340. Thanks for being on the show.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.